All right, Kay Smyth is here, news and commentary writer for the Daily Caller. Hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. What do you make of this?
This study has been conclusive. This research has been conclusive for years. So, Leland, before I got back into sort of news and media, I worked in the academic sector. I was working with PhD candidates predominantly. Every single study that came across my desk that had something to do with measuring happiness, being in a fulfilled marriage with kids, was, I would say, around actually here's the issue. It comes in actually overall as the number 2 signifier for happiness. The number 1, I guess, source of happiness for Americans actually comes from a relationship with God. Any God, but predominantly Christian, people in the Christian religion, people who study the Bible a lot, they just tend to be happier overall. But if we want to look at just sort of like happiness as it pertains to like relationship status, yeah, obviously people who
Okay, but let me ask you this, though. How much of this is correlation versus causation, right? How much of this is how you're raised, and because you're raised in a certain way, you have a different perspective? Maybe it's because of your relationship with God, and then that's why you go and get married, versus that actually being married, because we know a lot of people who are married and pretty unhappy, that it may be a little bit of trying to, well, kind of find what want to look for.
But isn't that sort of like our whole purpose? And you've just hit it really on the head right there. This is the issue with so much in social science, social research, especially on a macro level. You can't really look at married and single people and measure their levels of happiness in any real comparative way. The sort of what most people think of as quote unquote happiness, really we need to define it more as contentment. Like, who is the most content? Who is the most satisfied with their life? Happiness is a relative term, and happiness by definition to someone who's in a relationship, it's going to be completely different to someone who's single. And a lot of that has to do with how you're spending your time. And, it's so complicated, and you gave me a 4-minute segment today, so I don't really know what you said is correct, but it's so nuanced and it's so complicated. But if you want to look at it from an overall like life satisfaction level, which is kind of the same across the board, yeah, people who are married and people who have kids and people who put in the work and investment to those things to make them great, they found their purpose, they found their definition. And isn't that really like the whole reason we're here?
Yeah, I guess the other way to say it is that it's finding something outside of yourself, right, versus sort of social media and everything that tends to look more inward. Fascinating conversation. Kay, thank you for being with us. Next time, I can't promise you more time, but I can promise you you'll be back, all right?
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.